If you find yourself struggling to push your hips back when you are trying to do a hinge pattern like a deadlift or an RDL, or you're standing with your glutes constantly squeezed and your hips shoved forward, then you may be experiencing some tightness within your posterior pelvic floor or the muscles that make up that back part of the pelvic floor. So today we're going to talk about a little self-manual technique that you can do in order to decrease the amount of tension in those muscles so that you have more room and availability to get up on your 2 feet and hinge. For this, you're going to need a ball. I grabbed one of my dog's small chuck it balls. It can be a little bit bigger than this, but the most important thing is that the ball has a little bit of give to it. If you have a very, very hard lacrosse ball lying around, that might be a little bit too much for what your body can currently handle, especially if you are in fact dealing with tightness within those posterior pelvic floor muscles. Before we do the self-manual technique, I want you to try and find something that we call the sits bones. Those are the bones that you can kind of feel whenever you are sitting kind of up tall and straight. Now, if you really have your pelvis tilted forward like this, you're not going to feel them. Also, if you're sitting back on your pelvis like this, you won't feel them. So kind of find somewhere in the middle, and then you're going to rock back and forth, and you should feel those two bones as you go to the right side and to the left side. We are going to place this ball and tuck it right underneath the inside of those sits bones. So it's going to sit in between the sits bones and your butthole. So with the ball here, find that sits bone and then tuck the ball right on the inside of that sits bone. And from here, you can kind of sit in any position you like, whether you want to do cross-legged, whether you want to do one leg up, whether you want to do 2 legs up. Also play around with your hip positioning, whether you're in internal or external rotation, because you may have more tender spots with your knee going in, or you may have more tender spots with your knee going out. Different leg positions are going to have different amounts of pressure that is put on the ball from yourself and your gravity and your body weight on top of it. You can also use your hands to support, where we're just kind of rocking back and forth, in and out, trying to find and feel if any of those muscles have tender spots. And then once you find a tender spot, you're going to sit here and you're going to practice some nice deep breaths, meaning that we're inhaling through our nose, expanding 360 degrees around the rib cage, and then exhaling through our mouth with an open mouth. Focusing on the breathing is going to help your body relax a little bit more and also help those muscles relax too. After you do one side, switch to the other side where we are finding that sits bone, so mine's right here, and tucking it right on the inside of that sits bone. Finding those tender spots. Once you find one, sit and chill for a little bit and go through about 3 to 5 nice, deep, relaxing breaths to help your body relax a little bit more. I recommend spending about a minute on each side. You can include this as part of your warm-up for your lower body hinge focused day, or you can also do this on a daily basis in order to kind of get ahead of some of that muscle tension that you may be experiencing within your posterior pelvic floor.